Today we are going to break down the e-commerce project and how Iterator factored into that. We're going to talk about going from spreadsheet to script and then from script into Iterator, how that affects planning, production, and post. Are you ready, Tyler?
Let's do it.
Let's get it.
Flag on the Moon, a podcast for commercial filmmakers and their clients, talking about enhancing video workflows to get more out of the video production process, featuring the occasional giant leap and a small dose of boldly going where filmmakers don't normally go.
As a company of creatives hyper-focused on making everything as great as it can be, we're here to plant a flag on the proverbial moon of video content. The pace of content consumption today requires more from the process.
And now your hosts, T-Dog and Wes.
The first step is going from a spreadsheet, which has a lot of information in it, to a clean, organized data set that we can work with in Iterator. You did that, so why don't we talk about that a little bit? How'd you start?
So we start off with this spreadsheet from the client. It's got columns of all of this data about their products. We also have access to their Amazon storefront and their website where we can collect more information, which we did, and we brought into the spreadsheet. We built out the spreadsheet further. We cleaned it. And so at that point, we had these buckets of information in these categories about each product that we would then take into the next part of the process.
So that kind of gives the script writing process a blank slate. Caitlin had some things to say about that.
So like my process starts whenever we start talking about scripts. And Tyler sends me, whatever we've pulled out of Iterator. But the thing is, like, when I'm coming in to do the scripts, I am not sitting there spending a day or two reading about the products, because Iterator works so intelligently and it's using AI it's leveraging, I should say, AI to learn at a rate that I can't possibly match. It already is coming out and saying, okay, this is what this product's about, this is how it works, here's like a way that we can do this and talk about this in a way that makes sense to the public.
So you've got the clean spreadsheet. The next step is for it to get kind of ingested into Iterator so it can sit in a 2-column format, which gives us the copy, what's being said by the voiceover artist, and then the shot, what the shot's going to be. What is that process of getting the spreadsheet prepped and ready and visible inside of the app?
We tell the app what columns of information we're interested in, what fields about each product that we're interested in. And then we have this iterative process of prompting the AI system and refining the prompts and feeding in data. So there's really two key ways that we go from this spreadsheet to the rough draft of scripts. We tell the system, first of all, look, these are our fields that we care about. This is all of the data. This is where to look for it. So now we have that in our database. Then we go through this iterative process where we're feeding in the data and prompts and getting scripts out, and then reviewing the scripts, evaluating the response, and refining until eventually we have this system that will send in the right data to the right place with the right prompting to get us a 80% of the way there script out the other end.
You're describing what we've been calling the prompt stacking feature.
Exactly.
Do you have a good metaphor for this? Because like everybody knows about ChatGPT and they can imagine like opening up the app and typing things into the interface and getting something back. But this is a more robust, it's not a terribly, of all the things we're doing, it's not the most innovative, but it's just a really effective way. So I've got some metaphors, but I'm wondering if you have any metaphors. You can say shit. We'll put that E on
Shoo!
Shoo doggy. No, poo doggy, I'll tell you.
No, I do not have any metaphors.
All right, let's put 60 seconds on the clock. I've got some metaphors for describing the prompt stacking feature to write a script in Iterator. Kinda like making a multi-layer sandwich that's way better than just eating a slice of bread.
Okay, I can dig it.
It passes? All right.
I mean, I might have gone with the classic, like, big block of stone, and you kind of chisel out the rough form,
okay,
and then you chisel.
Yeah, so each prompt is another
Exactly.
strike of the chisel.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's good. I like
Yeah.
that. All right, I've got a third one here.
Cool.
Scaffolding, right? So you kind of put the first layer down, and then you climb up to that level, and you go, I got to get up there. And so you add another level, and eventually you've got the levels you need to kind of like do the work at each stage of the process.
Okay.
I've just got one rule with metaphors. You want to know what it is?
What's that?
No construction metaphors, no fishing metaphors. Maybe the occasional hammer metaphor for tools, but that's TV. That's coming at a later date.
Because they're just too played out. We're dealing with like a lot of data and a lot of products, and so this is not a manual process. We're setting up a system that we were able to then run in batches. In the early phases of just prepping the data too, we're adding new columns to the spreadsheet that are teasing out information from the initial like kind of rough set of columns. So we have just like a data dump to start with, and then we pull out, okay, what is a feature of this product versus what is a benefit to the end user of this product. And so we build out new parts of the spreadsheet as we go. And then using that better data, we then pump that into a system that can be run in batches.
It's a system and it's repeatable.
Yeah.
So sort of like the simplified version of this whole thing is that if you run an e-commerce company and you've got 200 products and you've scripted videos for that inventory before, and we're like, I never want to do that again. That was such a tedious process. This is just a much easier way to tackle that and to like just eat that elephant really with one bite. Like it's not.
For sure. We still have the touch points where we're still using our taste to decide like what does this script look like every step of the way. So I mean, my last touch is usually like with the rough draft scripts, and then that goes to you. So like, what happens after I hand off the script?
Well, the first time was really where we set it in motion, and then we've been continually improving what the shots look like. Like, it's going to be a wide shot of a product, and then it's going to be a medium shot of somebody opening the product, and then it's going to be a shot of an animal eating. Like, that level of ideation is really where we began. That's kind of where most videos begin. It's this idea of figuring out the vision, what you want it to look like. So once we established kind of like what the pacing was and what the rhythm was, I had a pretty good idea of what I wanted that to be. Then it was just a matter of, in batch 2, looking at that and saying, okay, this is how I want these to be scripted, and it did a pretty good job of like writing that out. And then batch 3 did an even better job. But you know, there was still a point in the process, and really Caitlin was in charge of this on batch 3. And you know, in her telling of it, it was just a much like better starting place.
So one of the things that's really great about how Iterator is like spitting out the first versions of the scripts to me is like there's this format that when I have to sit down and start breaking down the shots, we have an overview tab, we have a how-to tips and tricks tab, and the details tab. Having them separated by format, it already gives me like one part of that labeling system. I know I'm making it from scratch because we're starting from scratch, but like it's already built in there and I know exactly what it needs to look like. And because it's already in the iterator process, so does everyone else who's already worked on it. So like that explanation I would normally have to make when I go into post, I'm like, okay guys, if you see a PO, it means this. If you see PD, it means this. I don't have to have that discussion because it's already built into the system. Everything is really clearly labeled.
Yeah.
And so really what that 2-column leads us to ultimately is the breakdown and the schedule, because all of this stuff, this volume, has to be captured in a way that is beautifully shot and can be beautifully edited. You know, there's no hack for that, luckily. I mean, I actually love that about all of this, is that, you know, we're not skipping the important parts. We're not skipping the fun parts, which is being on set and, you know, killing it. So the breakdown is super important. And the way that you can think about it is that each of these products has maybe, you know, 40 shots being captured for it, 30, 40 shots, and they're going to be used across 3 different formats. And so the slating game is like really important. Each slate, when you look at it, has like a number on it, and that's a scene number, and it's got a format number, letter on it, right? And so you could have one shot that was maybe used for one video, but you had some that were used for like 3 different points in the edit. And Caitlin did a phenomenal job of like keeping that all in her head and like managing that system, that organization.
How is that playing on camera? It's very tight. I don't know if we've been this tight yet.
The thing is, we're gonna have to come out from this because I need 2 shots out of this for the edit.
So we need to dress it
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And then the same thing happens with the shots. They already have like certain assigned numbers, which like normally I would have to go in and I would have to assign shot numbers to every single thing. They're already in there. The only thing I'm doing on the front end of that is tacking on a product identifier, so that anyone who looks at any slate for any shot we take in this project, you know exactly what format it's for, what product it's for, what shot in the whole edited thing it's for. It's all very clearly labeled. And the fact that it's so clearly labeled means we can slate for multiple shots together.
Which is
It's
really
time
rare.
It is.
Right?
It's
Right.
time efficient, but it's also still keeping everyone in the loop on what's being communicated. What was the angle, Wes? Was it like this?
Yeah, it was like that. About
It's too far that way, so I need some extra. So technically, when we do these shots in the hand, it's never proportion right. It's purely about the pretty.
Shooting with animals is interesting. It's fun.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't like getting a puppy to like sit. You know, it's more like, you know, is the snake hungry today?
Right.
Will the lizard make eye contact with the camera? Does the leopard gecko feel spicy today?
Or
You
is
know?
he getting nervous?
Right.
Does he like everyone in the room?
Am I getting nervous?
Yeah, right.
Because there's a snake. Yeah, it's just very interesting proposition where the point of getting the animal in the shot is ultimately to get the animal eating. And, you know, sometimes they show up hungry and sometimes they don't.
They're just living their lives. It's just another day in their life, but they're like, what is all this?
Exactly. All this hoopla for these crickets, you know.
Okay, so the shoot happens, and how else does Iterator fit into this picture?
Well, the coolest thing is that, you know, we're using Frame.io's camera to cloud, which is a feature that allows us to basically have a cloud-enabled monitor that is connected to Frame.io. And when we cut on the camera, it cuts on the monitor, and that clip goes straight up to Frame.io. And Iterator is integrated heavily with Frame.io, and it can see that clip. And because of how we're organizing the footage that's coming in, it just is shows up in the place where it's supposed to. So we had an editor working on set and like picking shots and organizing clips. So the editor knows based on the slate that's in the first frame of every shot. We were super rigid about that. Like every single first frame of every single shot had a slate in it, so that when you hover over it in the app, you can see exactly where that shot is supposed to go. You can see the places where it's supposed to go. And so you mark your in point, you mark your out point, and you select it. And then you can get into the process of adding the graphics to that shot. And so, you know, that's a thing where as soon as the camera cuts, that footage is available and the graphics package is prepped. So you can just like make your select and move on to the next. And at the end of that process, you know, you've got a finished cut. It's not just a rough cut, like it's pretty dang close to something that passes for a version 1 client review.
Yeah, and so we get an actual After Effects file with
with
footage, with graphics, right there.
That's right. At the end of it, you've got the MP4, and if you're a pro user, you can just download the AEP or the After Effects project file. We have a custom tool set across the board. One of the tools is very cleverly named AE to Premiere, and that's exactly what it does. It sends this finished comp over to Premiere. So all of these clips, the footage clips, the proxies can be online to the RAW, the audio can be sent over, and then the graphics are represented inside of that timeline as linked comps. So you've got this live edit that's now ready to go to color and to sweetening audio. What used to take days or even weeks is like hours now. Cheers. Cheers. As a software developer who has been, you know, doing video production things for a while now. Like, where do you see what we did for this e-commerce project going?
I mean, I still want to remove friction from the system. There are still steps that are a little bit annoying, and ultimately I want this to be just exactly the knobs that we want to turn so that we can be creative and so that the entire process flows smoothly and we're applying our taste to the entire process. And so it's largely removing all of the annoying parts is how I see it going. So
I love that. I was having a conversation with a fellow filmmaker today, and we were talking about how there used to be sort of this like understood that process is there to help us be more organized. And I think that, we're perhaps entering an era where we can say that, yeah, but being organized is like way easier now because of AI and how it's integrating into our workplace like more and more every day. Maybe process should be there to like support flow and to create space for flow to happen, because that's the part that feels good, and that's the part ultimately in creative services that clients are paying for, not for themselves, but in the product that you make, So
Yeah.
it's like this idea that, a company that uses the same language to sell that they use to recruit is like a company that is in line with itself. So it's like you, the client, if you're purchasing video services, are going to really like how your product feels when you watch it, how your video feels when you watch it, if the people involved were inspired, and
Right.
if they had like a great experience of like working up to the point where they could flow. And I think that it's important to note that it's like not all fuzzy wuzzy,
Right.
like there's always going to be that technical thing, but if every time you solve a technical problem, you're not putting it into a little bank of solutions, that you don't have to do again, and
Yeah.
that solution is more accessible. Like, to me, that's kind of what I hear when you say you want to remove the friction. It's a beautiful vision, and I think it's like becoming more of a reality every day.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to be like stressed out about things that are just tedious that could be automated away. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it comes down to is if we are stressed and pulling our hair out over BS all the time, then we're not going to be in a great creative headspace.
And there it is. That's the reason to do video automation things. It's not just about saving time, saving money. I mean, that's cool, but it is about the opportunity, things that are not being done currently that are now possible, and building these solutions in unique and custom ways. We can do so much cool shit now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's time to get out of here. As the good video people know, the ending is the hardest part.
Bye.